Hello and welcome to episode 9 of Uncover Your Greatness with Michael DeMond. My guest today is Rachael Bush of MOVA Business Solutions, and I reached out to Rachael because I wanted to talk about her recent transition to full-time entrepreneurship. Rachael has been practicing the gig economy for the past couple years and also working a traditional employment. And she just recently, on her son's 10th birthday, decided to go full-time entrepreneurship. So I figured that, why not reach out to her and catch her while she's at the beginning of this transition, because some of you may be listening to this podcast and or watching this video and considering the same thing. So I wanted to just get a little bit of information from Rachael about what her greatest fears were about making this change. Also have her talk about her company, why she started, and just, as always, share some things that kind of come out of the process of trying to uncover our greatness so that we can be our better selves. So this is the first episode of Uncover Your Greatness with Michael DeMond, done on video. You'll be able to watch this on YouTube, and we'll continue to have the audio versions posted on Anchor FM. You can listen on Spotify, iTunes, whatever your favorite podcasting platform is, it'll be there. So thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this conversation, and let's listen to my talk with Rachael Bush of MOVA Business Solutions.
So my name is Rachael Bush. I'm proud business owner operator of MOVA Business Solutions, which provides contracted, and why am I closing my eyes and think about it? Contracted virtual administrative support to business owners. It literally came from, I really wanted to get paid to help people plan stuff, and not events, but not really not plan events, but simply try to keep people on track. And I thought at first that was something I could do if I kind of wrote a blog about it and talk to my friends. And then finally I connected with somebody online, and I can't think of her name now. She was like, "You should be a virtual assistant." And I'm like, "What is that?" So I started, you start going down your Google hole, and I'm like, oh, it's somebody who gets paid to do work online. And while virtual assisting can be summed up many ways, I have yet to narrow down my niche, because I like helping everybody. And maybe that's just a part of my personality. Maybe it's my zodiac sign, because I'm Gemini. I'll put that out there. But it's truly just helping others. There was a need, as I continue to connect with friends and family and just within my network who were working on things in the middle of the night. And I went, why don't I just get paid to do the stuff they're working on in the middle of the night? So that's
okay.
Where the business came from.
Interesting. Okay. So to do that, then there had to be a reason people say yeah, that's something that you should probably do. What is it about your personality and what you enjoy made you think yeah, that's something that I would, because I know for me, I'm too impatient to do that type of stuff for people. And I don't like details. It's crazy that it is. So how did you
I don't believe that. I
don't like little stuff. It's weird how it's just so weird how little stuff drives me crazy. And when I think about being somebody's virtual assistant, I think about there's a lot of detailing and planning and ordering. There's a lot of stuff that you have to do to kind of keep things in order. So there had to be something in you that people will be like, oh yeah, I can see you doing that.
Well, that's a great question. Well, I wish you gave me some before, but I like that one better. Okay. So my career, I guess I can start there. I had all intentions of going to college, Marquette alum. And I had to tell my parents that I didn't want to go to law school. I wanted to work in catering. And I wanted to work events. And my parents my mom works for the post office. My dad is the chief of police. He was at our park district. Now he's in Cook County. So that was hard to hear. So let me put that out there.
Yeah, they're hold on, we didn't do all this for that.
Wait a minute. What you mean you want to go work in catering? And I said it's full time. So that was a thing. So my career is actually, for a while, was food service management. So I went into that right out of college. Conveniently, I had my son right my senior year of college. So Philip was, I was full-time before, I was a full-time employee before I graduated and before I had Philip.
Okay.
So life lesson that came in handy because I didn't know what FMLA was until then. But
learn something new.
Right. What is FMLA? Okay. So jumping to all that, when you're in management, specifically food service management, specifically catering and events, there's just a lot of detail. And they pay you a decent wage, but they don't give you any assistance. So specifically when I was in my manager roles, I never had an admin, but I was paid a salary to make sure all the administrative things got done.
Got
So
it.
while it was a decent paycheck and all my bills were paid, I also didn't have to report my hours, but I was at home with the laptop. I was on somewhere looking at stuff, making sure numbers matched. So all those tedious tasks that was involved in running an account, I had to cover.
Okay.
And I guess those skills always came out. And family, friends, colleagues were like, how do you take the time to see all? Like, I guess I always had an eye for the extra stuff.
Okay.
And making sure everything went from point A to point B. I will say I am as I'm learning, I wrote in my article too that I'm learning that nobody's perfect. So I have perfectionist tendencies, but I don't like them. They drive me crazy. So I'm trying to get out of that. But with that, right. So with that comes just looking at everything from each angle and really being able to see the good and the bad. And specifically in food service, you have to be extra flexible because you may not have a full staff one day. As the manager, you had to jump in on every role, specifically including not even catering, including cooking, which I had to do at some point. I cook at home. I never thought I'd have to cook in my job, but
wow.
My last job made me do it. I'm not gonna call them out there. You can find it on LinkedIn. My last food service job is what I should say. So yeah, just being able to see that it took a lot to do, and I like that skill. Fun fact, I also, as a kid, used to change my handwriting every year between like grades. Yeah. So like I'd get through school and I didn't like it. So at home during the summer, I would practice and either I'd switch it or I'd clean it up or I'd practice my cursive. Nobody had to tell me to fix my handwriting. I told myself.
Gotcha.
So
you're in
yeah.
the right field.
Right.
That nailed it right there.
Thanks.
How did you, like, is there something that occurred or something that triggered that made you have that shift from, I'm going to work a good paying job that pays me well to I'm going to go start this thing on my own?
That's a good question. So I will say personally, I've always been employed. I literally got a job 12 days after I turned 16. So yeah, like it was like, go get a job. Like
I had my work permit, like, what was it, like 15 you can get the work permit or something like that? I was like that too.
So in Illinois, we could have had one. I didn't do the program to get it. So I literally had to wait till I turned 16. My twin sister was already working at Burger King. And I knew I didn't want to smell like French fries. So I just waited. Good job, Ryan. When you hear this. So I always had a job. I've always been employed. I don't know what it's like to not have a job. But in 2016, I had to step away from the full-time employment I had and walked away. And I guess I can share, like I was going crazy. That's how I'm gonna put it.
Okay.
That's what, just a lot of long hours. At the time, my babies were in Illinois, so I have two sons who are Philip and Owen. They were in Illinois with my mom. I had to send them there for the summer. I was pitiful, but the hours were all over the place, and the job just said I couldn't do it. So that's how I'm put it. So I spent the whole summer hustling. That's how I'm gonna say that too. Yeah. There was some Uber, there was Lyft, there was Postmates in 2016. Had really been popular before all this other stuff.
I done all that stuff. Yeah.
I know, because I think look, I know you preach to the choir.
We encountered once before. Get up on one of them runs.
You're right. So just know, like, that summer, I was like, I don't know what life is going to look like, but going into the boys' school year, there was definitely flexibility. And so I was like, wow, I could pick people up and I could drop people off. how do I make that work? So I will say that was a time when I said I really should do it. But fear gets the best of you. But it brought an opportunity where I was at and I would say my full-time, part-time employer for the past 3.5 years, which I just walked away from. So with all of that, I knew I was doing it part-time. So I was like, there's got to be another way to make money. But, between two young kids, boys would have been 6 and 4, I couldn't Lyft and Uber and, do all of that. So I had to narrow down those side hustles. But I said, I could start my business. Like I could work on that in the middle of the night. I could work on that in between stuff. I could dedicate time the 2 days I wasn't working. And so that's really why the business started from there. And it just kind of took up the time in between working. Like I'd work 3 days a week. And in the 2 days that they were at school, I could still kind of keep figuring out this business thing. Gotcha. So jump to 3 years now. Honestly, the client work increased. My contracted work increased, which I'm thankful for. But I had to make a shift life-wise because somebody had to be home to make sure they got to school. And so my other half changed, switched his daytime gig because we gigs in his house. So we
y'all know the gig economy.
Right. And so somebody had to be here, and I said, okay, I gotta make some decisions. So I made a decision to go full time.
Okay. So I'm gonna tap into a couple things that you said there, and one of them being you brought up fear earlier. Like, what was your greatest fear?
For this jump, or like the original one before?
Let's go with for this. Well, not this jump that you just started. The one before that. Then we're gonna talk about the one you just started.
Okay, great, because there's still some hanging out there. I think the original fear was, again, I had always been employed, so to not be employed, and then again to come from a family of people who always had jobs or has had gainful employment, it was kind of hard to be like, okay, I'm just not going to be working out here. Like that's not a thing for us. And telling both my parents, I don't think I need to tell you which one because they'll hear this. One was like, you got this. And the other one was like, what? No. So but both showed support in that regard, and just kind of was like whole time. So a lot of fear with that. Also, I'm a mom, and to be very candid, there's always resources when you have kids, but then that puts a lot of people in your business.
Yeah.
So then the other thing is, if I get this job, they stay out my business. And then there's just some stability with gainful employment. There's, you always know you ain't gonna have to worry about rent. You ain't gotta look at the invoice when you stalking somebody for it. So like being able to say, okay, this is something I gotta do. So I had to put more empowerment in myself, in my skill set, and then definitely a higher power too. A lot of hope, a lot of faith. It's scary.
Yeah. Trust me, I know. And I think that's why it's important for people to hear these kind of conversations, because people see you when you're up and you're doing it in your bright moments, not knowing that you have those moments where even though you're doing it, you still have those moments. It's like, what the hell am I doing? You know, where it still can be scary no matter what. Like I made this transition out here to California from Wisconsin, and like I felt like I was new all over again. I'm like, how am I supposed to be going through this when I've been in business for a long time? So like it still comes up, and I think that it's important for people to know, one, to be able to recognize that it is fear, and then two, to have ways to be able to deal with it so that you don't spend too much time in it.
Right, I agree.
Yeah. So okay. So that I got that part of the initial. Now, because what triggered this is because I saw your post and you kind of shared how your first week was. So like, let's talk a little bit about that now. So you've already had your business going. Now you decided that you're going to go full time in it, and you still had a little bit of hesitation. You mentioned that you still have some fear associated with it, but let's kind of talk about how that first week has been for you, and like. It seems like you got to the point where just like it really wasn't a choice. It was just something that had to be done.
It did.
which I find like most things in our life, it gets to that point where it's just like you can choose to get there sooner, or you can wait for circumstances to get you there.
Right. That's exactly it.
Oh, okay. So, you had this recent transition. Let's talk a little bit about that and how that's been for you.
Sure. So again, I had to make the decision. So my my permanent part-time gig, I had to put in my notice, which was really hard, because I feel like they are still like family. I worked for a family business, so I was actively involved, and I wasn't family, so that's the other thing to point out. I was definitely a stranger who didn't even think she got the job. So let me put that out there. But I got it, and I did my job. So putting in that notice, first of all, was hard. So I didn't get fired. I didn't get laid off. They have found somebody. So that's the other thing to think about. So let me track back a little bit. So I knew I had to make a decision and leave. Not just for and I'm gonna say it was not just because it's not just for my business, it's for my family. And we have to all decide, like, what are you gonna do for the people who clearly aren't going anywhere? A job will always be there. And I actually had to say to myself, and I don't want anybody to think it's insensitive, but I know the folks who are in like HR get it. If I died tomorrow, they had to replace me.
That's true.
No matter how much they appreciated me and cared about me, if I died, they had to find somebody else. They'd have to post the job just like everybody else. Right. So I kind of had to say that a couple times before I even said, I'm going to go have this conversation, because I'd be like, Rachel, if you died somewhere, they was finding somebody else. So I hope that doesn't come off dark, but
no, it's a reality. This is about business, and it's not about this emotional attachment to it.
Right.
But it's true. I understand that.
And that was some of that fear too, but I had to make a decision. I was officially a full-time entrepreneur on my son's 10th birthday, which was February 21st. Mm-hmm. Philip turned 10, right. And that kind of prompted the conversation just some of my posts, because I knew when Philip was born 10 years ago that whatever a job looked like, I didn't want to have it by the time he turned 10. Conveniently, it would be 10 years out of college, which I'm also celebrating this year. These double digits, so all that stuff, and then I guess I kind of felt like I should be in a different space. Like, I guess I just thought personally I'd be in a different space by the time Philip was 10. Clearly I didn't know I was going to have another kid. I didn't know all of that at that point, but I just knew at 10, I couldn't have no job. And well, honestly, kids are getting old. You got your baby, so you understand what I'm going through. There's moments that we want to be a part of as parents, and even with the flexibility I had at the part-time job, there were moments that I missed, and I just can't keep missing stuff. And so even like today, I had Philip had a field trip. We went to Madison. And even though all them fourth graders wore me out, Greendale, you'll see this later if you want, I was tired. I was just glad to be present. That isn't the first time I haven't gone on a field trip, but it was the first present field trip where I was like, I'm gonna send these emails real quick, and then I was done.
Right, totally done. Let me go enjoy this.
Right, and I'm gonna be sending some more tonight. But it felt good.
It's nice to have that flexibility, that choice.
I mean, the bank account's still what are you doing? But other than that, it's okay. Yeah. So yeah, that helps. It helps. So
cool. Appreciate you sharing that. So one of the things that I always like to talk to people about, and we already kind of touched on failure. And I brought it up a couple times, but it's just because I just know so many people get taken off course and spend so much time in that's such a dark place, when something doesn't go right. Have you had any failures in your business so far that you're just like, ooh, that took the wind out of me, but you found your way back? Have you had any of those moments?
Yeah, I think anybody that runs a business has failed at something. The problem is either we give up and not do it, or and just say I'm done, or we come back. My failures have been a little bit. I'm going to put it and I don't want to call them a failure. I think it is a fail. I'm going to say it's a fail, but it's also a learning lesson. So
yeah, I have that same perspective.
Right.
It's a failure if I didn't learn from it.
Right, because I don't like F's. So like, so I would think the first one, and I'm still kind of like trying to transition from it. But I think the first failure was, I would say, the loss of a client. And it was somebody who I thought like it was working. You know what I mean? Like you're like, oh, this is going and you're doing stuff. And then I kind of was reaching out, and then like the next invoice was supposed to come, and then they were like, yeah, so I'm not working with you no more. And I was like, what? Like, so that's when I learned to get a real contract. So that's the first thing. So that was the first failure. Like, yeah, so about this contract.
There's gonna be some notices involved here.
Right, so yeah, and so that helped. I think the next failure was having, I would say, picking the work that really didn't align with what I wanted to do. So while it gave me experience, it just also, I knew I didn't have that same passion to work, and not just to work on the work, but to work with them. Yeah. So as an entrepreneur, I don't have to work with everybody. So I thought there was like that, and I've said that, and I don't know how to word it right. So maybe one day, Michael, you can help me. So I've always said that I want to find soulmate clients. So I want to have some kind of connection. I want them to align with my mission and my values. And mostly everybody has. I probably can count on my hand the few that didn't work out. And I think I just had to go back and reevaluate. So I consider that a failure lesson, because I knew deep down, like, you want to do this work, you want to help, because I have that pool where I want to help people. But again, as I continued to have the scheduled meetings and the work, it just was like it just wasn't going and working out.
Oh, boy, I so understand.
Right. Yep. And then I had a contract at that point, but I kind of just went, I'm not fighting over this. So that was the other thing. It was like, even with the contract in place, and it says by this date, if you cancel, then I can do this. And I didn't want to do that tug and pull with them. So I let that go. And then the other failure was when I first started, I kind of was like, ooh, I want to do this and I want to do that. And I want to be a part of here. So I've made it very clear that I don't do social media support. So when I first started, I did do that. But again, I think that's where that passion piece came in. Like, I knew that if I wanted to write content for a client, like, that was going to have to be some real money, and it takes a lot of work.
More than people understand, because it's right. Like, all people think about is the finished product, not the process of it.
Right. And I'm like, oh, like, I was just like, I don't know if I want to do that. So then I reduced stuff a little bit, and then I was like, you provide your content, and if you don't, then I got, so then trying to do that wiggle with people, I just went, no, like, I can't. So I did help a couple clients in that regard, but now I only offer like the setup, because it's just easier to do that. And it's another thing for people to delegate and not have to worry about, and at least handle. And then I'm much more better about like providing tools compared to before, where it was like, I didn't want to set people up to need me all the time, but then that's kind of how you kept your money. Now I'm like, no, you do this. Here's what you can do. You can do it. Now, if you want me back, then that's a separate conversation. But, it definitely empowering the client on certain things helps too.
No, that's good. You touched on like some very personal moments in that kind of, because and I love that you call it soulmate clients. Like, I don't think you need to find no other word.
Okay.
Because I've had that, and it's just like, it's weird. It could be the same work you've done for other people who are soulmate clients, but there's just something about the energy with certain people that is just like, don't jive. And you're right. When you have a business and especially when it's different if you were like selling a product that people are just buying and you're shipping.
Right.
But when you're personally involved in having to work and communicate with somebody, it is important that energy is good. And I think you have a right to be able to choose the people who are going to fit in that. Branding kind of ties into that, to attract the people that are going to get you and want to work with you in that way. Right. So definitely love that soulmate client.
Thanks.
I like that. That's a good one.
No, I need to coin that. I keep saying it, and then I'm like, dang it, Rachael.
And it's good, because out of it, you then, like you said, I'm like, what is the big one of the failures? What did you get away from it? How did you come out of it? And you had those processes that you put in place so that you can at least limit the amount of times that that's going to happen again in the future, which is cool.
Yeah, and it hasn't happened. It's been a while. So
That's good. That's good. Okay. So, part of the thing that I've learned too, everybody always talks about, entrepreneurs and business and, all the business skill side, but there is like this unforeseen, whether it be, faith, spirituality, religion. Like I found that you need to have something that you can tap into to kind of lift you up and give you that inner support that you need for your spirit in this work. So like, do you have any things that work for you? Like for me, I have people that I listen to on YouTube.
Okay.
Who is just like, I'm feeling a certain way. I'll go look up something on the topic and I'll find a message that resonates with me.
Right.
Or, I'll pick up a book, that kind of talks about that. Like I found that I've learned well from other people sharing their stories and their experiences, which is why I love doing this podcast. So I'm just kind of curious for you, like, how do you keep your spirits? What kind of practices or things do you keep your spirit good?
I need to be honest. And as I wrote that first week, I need to do a part 2 because I need to write the one that said I wanted to get a job the second day. So
really? Ooh, let's talk about that for a minute. If you won't lose your train of thought, I want to talk about that.
So as I circle back, but I did it. I haven't done it yet, and I don't want to. Not yet. And I think if it ever came, so before I go back to like full entrepreneur, like if I say I'm gonna go back and get a job, I mean there has to be some set things in place, and then I have some personal goals I want to accomplish before I even consider like that. But yeah, I'll go back.
Because I recently did that.
You did? Okay.
I was applying and sending resumes like crazy, going to interviews like crazy, and none of them sat well with me. And I'm just like, okay. Yeah, I mean, like, nothing.
That's kind of what it was. I was like, day 2, I tell you, I called my mom. I said, I'm getting a job. She was like, you just started. So I laughed, but I gave her a hard time. And she didn't need that. But I think truthfully, what keeps me going, and while, I would say I have faith, I have hope, I believe in God, I don't want to put anybody out there. I think we all practice differently. So, I'll say that. I think I have to write. So let me put that down. Let me put that out there first. So I have to write. I have to visually see it, and I have to read it, and then I have to write it again.
Hey, that's a good thing to know about yourself.
Right. And so I'll share, I have 2 planners, everything is on my calendar, all that stuff. And I still have moments where I miss it. So I'm putting it out there because I was on the phone with my mama earlier. But I have to see it. And I know that if I do that, it kind of puts it back in there. I've also been told I need to get a hype song. So you know who you are. Because I haven't
hype playlists.
Right. So I haven't asked for your likeness to be shared. I keep saying that because I won't call people out. Unless my mom, I can do that to her. But I was told I need to get a hype song. So I need to narrow that down because my hype song, I feel like, I don't know if it needs to be gospel-esque because I like gospel music. I honestly don't know if it needs to be T.I. because I could, and then I also don't know if it needs to be just out there. So I'm a little all over the place with that. And I think that's just part of my personality. If you did a good mix, and I'm going to say, I literally listen to, so I don't think it's my hype song, but I like Rick Ross Hustlin'.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's just catchy, and then it comes up, and then I'm like, yeah, and it kind of gets me going. But I'm not doing what he's doing in that song. Clearly, I'm typing people's stuff. That's not what
the energy is there, though. It's about the energy.
Is there, right?
I'm telling you, I got similar lists, and it's a lot of drug dealers up on this playlist right here. I ain't selling, but the energy is the same.
Yes, I'm the same way. I have a T-shirt that my soror bought for me that said, I bought it when she wore it at the same time, and it says, "I'm a good girl with a hood playlist." So, my mama, every time I see it, she I'm like, yeah, no, it's a long story. So I think so music, I would just say as a whole is a thing. So writing, music, and then finally just my kids. Philip and Owen don't even realize how much of an impact they have on me at times. To see their faces, and they already resonate with like what I'm doing. They can point it out before I can. One of my favorite memories is my mom was here and she had to pick them up from school, and I was on some kind of conference call or something. And so my bedroom door is closed because I work out my room. And I could hear them in the background like, "Where's mom?" Like, you know, and she's like, "I think she's got a call," you know, and I can hear Owen like, "Oh yeah, she's on a conference call. She's still on the phone. She's still on the conference call. She's got to work." So like, so even thinking about that, they are my true inspiration. And then also Philip, I have a story with Philip. When he was 4, we went to Easter Sunday church, and he gets up in front of my friend's church and he goes, I don't even know what they asked him, but it ended with, "My mama be working." So yeah, like
kids, they just call it out.
So I fulfilled that. And I just want them, and I think if anything, and I know you can relate, I just want to set the best example for them. I want them to know that you don't have to work for anybody to, work. I think it's helpful. Clearly, I think it provides some real life experiences. So I'm never going to say everybody needs to not get a job. But I also want them to know like they have options. And I think we don't inspire our kids, and specifically our Black children, because we got Black kids. So that there's so much more out there, than what they hear. I mean, I could go on my rant about schools and all of that. I won't do it to this because it's about my business, but I need them to know that they have more. So
that's cool.
That's the most.
I feel like entrepreneurialism ends up being about so much stuff. Like, you come into it thinking that it's just about business, but it touches on every aspect of life.
Yes.
Like every aspect of life. And I think like for me, self-discovery has been one of the biggest gifts that come out of this process. Because you end up going through so much and dealing with so many different people and having different experiences, like if you're about really trying to be the best version of yourself, I spend a lot of time reflecting inward, figuring out like, who am I? Because then I am trying to get to the point where I'm attracting my soulmates clients.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's important that you do that self work. So it's just like it's been such a self discovery journey, if you allow yourself to go on it, that I think is so important. And that kind of leads me to the next thing. Like for somebody listening to this podcast, whether they are been on their journey for a while and they're like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore, or if there's somebody's listening that is aspiring to start, like, you have any words of encouragement for them?
Yeah, I would just tell them to start. Because
it's really that's.
We all just say it, because I would say, I said I'm a planner. I kind of was like, oh, maybe I should look at this. And then you go down that wormhole of like, I'm gonna look up all the research. So I ended up doing more like things, and I signed up on 5011 email updates, and you Google virtual assistant, and then a bunch of people's faces pop up. So I would say you just start, and then you have to make the decision of what area you want to develop. So if I don't feel strong in the business aspect, then you got to make the time to see what other pieces you need to figure out about the business, and just be candid that you don't know everything. I don't know everything. I have no idea what it looks like. I just know that I've been through stuff, and I'm trying to tell other people how I went through it, and you going through that. I couldn't do this, so I commend you for doing this. But it's just, you have to start, and you have to know that starting is not going to look how you think it's going to look.
Oh yeah, and it's not a complete picture.
I mean, I honestly was like when I first started, I had asked people, so I kind of had reached out my network, was like, so I'm trying to start this business, and I think I'm really good at this. Do you need help? With that. And some of them was like, no. And then other people were like, mm-mm. And then finally I got well, I can use this. I'm like, great. great. Like, can I, so
Good.
you just,
Give me
you just right. You just kind of jump at that. And then you just have to keep doing that, evaluating. I also feel like, as I'm learning now, because I don't have a lot of cold calls, and I know there's business in that. I'm doing a better job of utilizing my warmer market. Or warm market, yeah. So, and what I didn't do the first year, I would say the first year and a half, even the year and a half. So I'm already halfway through. I didn't talk to enough people.
Okay.
I didn't talk about what I was doing. And I think I just felt like I didn't know what I was talking about. So let me put that out there. Even with the business and the whole website, and I got a couple people watching me on Facebook and people commenting, I still would get in front of people and I wouldn't share it. And I think that's because I knew I had a job. I knew I wasn't doing it as much as I felt like I should. So I kind of just was like, Rachel, what are you here for? My business. So I've done a much better job, I feel like, of just talking to like everybody.
That's really what it comes down to.
Mm-hmm. And really just being upfront and then just being honest. Like, people can tell when you faking it. Okay. Like, it's a thing. Like, and I hope I have that same skill set, but there are people who are like, you don't know what you talk about. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. Like, I tell everybody, I'm very set on like finding clients and connecting with them. And I really ask them, like, what are their administrative pain points? Because that looks different to so many people. Like, I literally am like, I just want to fix my email. You're right. You should be able to fix your email. Now, how do I make money over time? Or does that just become a set project to give them the skill set so then they can do it? So that's kind of how you have to think about it. But then also people are like, oh, I want to deal with my QuickBooks. Yeah, see, I don't do that. Like, so then you got to know what you do and what you don't do.
Right. Did you have to go through saying, yeah, I can do that, to learn that you don't do that?
Yes, I did. And I think you also, again, you just have to have confidence in yourself, because I've said yes to things that I was like, go on YouTube, like,
right. How do you do this?
But I definitely know I don't like dealing with people's money, so I'm very adamant about that. There are plenty of accounting. There are plenty of people I have referred people to. Like, so then the other thing is, being an entrepreneur, you really have to, again, work that market, because you need to know who you can refer people to that do a really good job.
And for what?
And for what, right? Like, if I know I don't do accounting, I got to have 5 accountants that I've at least interacted with in some regard, that I can say, you know what, she handles this. You should reach out to her. Or he handles that. And then, like, just being able to give that resource. And then that turns you into a resource for people, where they think about you like, oh, well, Rachael didn't help me with that, but, maybe she can help me out with this. And then if you become a client, great. If you don't, that's okay. It just wasn't our time. And when it is our time, it'll work. So
yeah, it takes having a mindset of abundance to be okay with that, to know that everybody's not for you.
Right.
And that there'll be other things. That's good. I'm like, that's great advice. Thank you for sharing that.
Oh, that makes me excited.
I have one more question that I didn't put in there. Like the name. So MOVA Solutions. Tell me about how you came to that.
Okay, so I've been told I need to write about that, because nobody's like, where did that come from? Okay, here we go. So first, I consider myself a virtual assistant. So the VA part, clearly, one day I'll do a rebranding. It'll be something fun. It'll look, I don't know what it'll look.
I was about to say, like, oh, I never even, okay. Visually, you need to represent that, yes.
Right, I know, I haven't. I put a checkbox, because I see it as, again, there's a task list, and then you just checking stuff off. I want to be that checkbox. I want you to say, I can handle Rachael with MOVA to take care of this for me. So I had started like a blog or whatever movement I was trying to do. It was called Move with Rachael Beak. I like my name, by the way, and somebody has my name, RachelBush.com. So whoever you are, sell it.
Same spelling?
Yeah.
Wow.
RachelBush.com. Yep. And she don't look like me. Rachel, we need to talk. Either way, because that was the plan, was to have my name and then, have all this stuff under it and be the serial entrepreneur that, we all are, because we all just can't do one thing. But when I started that blog, it was Move with Rachel B. And I just kind of didn't want to leave that idea, because I did want people to kind of shift, and I wanted them to think about planning and implementing and, just keeping up with stuff. So I literally just took the E and then I put an A, and I couldn't do, MOVA sounds weird, or MOVA with Rachel B. Like, that doesn't make sense. So I did a Google search and realized that wasn't popping up. And so eventually I should copyright it before somebody takes it. But I got to get on that. But I was like, business solutions, because I considered administrative and planning, and that's just it's a solution. So it's your business and I'm helping you figure out a solution. So.
Got it. I like that VA part. I didn't even know that.
I know. I
definitely have to emphasize that in some way.
Well, you know what? You're an expert on that. I might have to come back to you. I was like, because, you see everybody with the script. And then I am going to share, there's a business I follow, and she's a VA, she does other stuff, and it's called Office Badass. So another thing I couldn't cuss. And I didn't want my kids to be like, Mama works for Office Badass. What you doing? And I'm going to say what she's doing is great. So I'm totally sharing that, the way things pop with that and how she expanded that, and then what she provides. So as you think about stuff like that for your business, you can't take too much time to do that. But I think when it finally comes to you, you got to be able to explain it. But yeah, one day I'll make it cute or something.
Cool.
But I'm also very much a minimalist, so I don't know how that's gonna work.
It'll find its way.
I know that, and I'm just saying it's gonna come to me, and
right,
we'll make it work.
So how do people get in touch with you, and if they are interested in working with you and getting your help?
Well, first you can come to my website, which is www.movasolutions.org. Because Com wasn't available, and one day I'm gonna buy it off them too. But I'm also on Instagram, Facebook. I would say the best way to reach me, though, because you need to know how to communicate, is via email. And you can reach me at Rachael, Rachael, at movasolutions.org, or you can reach me at my, info email. So info@movasolutions.org. Those are both other avenues. I'm also on Twitter, but I'm like everybody else. I'm stalking feeds and seeing what's going on.
It's a stalking environment.
Right. It's a stalking environment. It's fun to stalk for business. But I have recently, and how we connected was through my LinkedIn article. So I am on LinkedIn. You type in my full name, Rachael Bush, it pops up and you will recognize his face when it comes up there, because I got a picture. But right now I don't have my makeup, but I have makeup on that picture.
I couldn't tell you. You still glowing.
And then I also have a business page on LinkedIn, so MOVA Business Solutions on LinkedIn as well. So definitely trying to capitalize on all platforms, but just trying to stay as genuine as possible with connecting with people. So I don't think I'm salesy or anything like that. There's no sleaziness about me. I really just want to work with other people who need help. So
awesome. Well, thank you for taking some time out to kind of share where you are on your journey. We'll have to do an update one. That's something I have to do. Maybe next year we talk again and be like, hey, so where are things now?
Oh, and you know what? I would say a year from now, I'd like to, and as I want to speak into the universe.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's recorded now.
I know, right? I'd like to have my right hand. I don't have that yet. I'm a solo entrepreneur, so I want to find somebody that clicks and gets me. So as a VA, I'd like to find my own VA. And specifically just someone who works the business and can kind of handle that piece. I think the highlight about being in my business is I can usually connect to people and kind of become that support for them. So I have to find the right person that supports for me, at least in my business. Everybody else around me, friends, family, they get it. So at least a year from now, I'd like to say that I've expanded and found that person. And then hopefully I can share that I have gotten out a lot more and done some workshops, or even traveled to do my work. That would be great.
That's an awesome goal. And it's funny because I was thinking of a question I wanted to ask you. but I didn't ask you because I didn't want to put you on the spot in case you didn't know. But you answered it because I was going to say, like, if somebody's listening to this, like, what do you want people to know that you need? And you said exactly what it was that you need.
Oh, yes. I need to find my person. Okay. You know how Grey's Anatomy talk about their person? Because I am everybody else's person. I'm also a Black woman who has a therapist. We should all get one. But I need to find my person for my business. I think it would help me clearly. And I just I'm really ready for that. And then again, I really want to travel for my work. I don't know what that looks like. It's kind of
engagements, workshops, that kind of thing.
Well, okay, so here's the thing, Michael. So I can speak to you like this. I cannot speak on a stage.
You would be so perfect on a stage. People would love you.
So I've been in front of people, and it was funny. And I'm going to use her name. So I was speaking to Clarine Mitchell, and we recapped last year. And I was like, oh, well, I emceed this, and I did that. And she was like, why is that not out there? And I'm like, because I didn't need to tell nobody. So I'd like to speak. I just don't know what that looks like. And I have to share that it makes me really nervous, and I don't want to vomit all over people. So I don't know what
I got a solution for you.
Okay.
And it's going to help you get YouTube without commercials.
Okay. I'm ready.
YouTube.
Oh.
Put your workshops online, virtual. Record yourself. You talking just like this, what you just said, you comfortable doing.
Mm-hmm.
This is your start.
Okay. You can call me out. In fact, you can check on me in 3 months. And see
okay. I like that.
Yeah, put it in the calendar. Just be like, Rachel, what you doing? So yeah, you need the right hand. I need to get out a little bit more with that. And then finally, just I think to be assistants, again, we're usually virtual. I really want to create some kind of presence for us. And we're all a little bit of everything. We call ourselves office business managers. We have a bunch of names. But I think I really want to find a way to continue to get us out there, and specifically us that look like us. I'm in several groups, on Facebook, but I need to find a way to how to explain it, especially here in Milwaukee. I think not a lot of us are talking about it. I think there's a lot of us that are around, but I don't know what that looks like.
Like a place for a virtual to gather something in person.
Yeah, and I can't put a name on it. But I'm trying to connect with other people. That's other thing. So I hope I have more connections when you ask me what else I need, or what else I still need. So just getting more connections. But yeah, it's definitely not visual. We're virtual, but we need to have a presence. And so.
Right. Cool. Well, thank you for that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, this was awesome.
Yeah. Now I get the fun to go editing for some hours.
I know. Good job. I wish you all the luck. I hope I didn't get too goofy on this thing.
No, I like goofy. It's fun. People like it when they listen to it because it makes them feel like they're there. It's a lot of fun.
You know what? And I will say, anything I've ever listened to where I can be like, ha! I just resonate. I liked it. Yeah. So I hope I delivered that for you. Please keep, keep up the good work. I appreciate seeing all your posts, and you making that journey to California was very inspiring. So thank you for shifting in your regards to keep growing. So
thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
No problem.
Enjoy your evening.
I am. Now I gotta call my mama back. So
all right. Have fun with that.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Bye.